Good evening. It's Sunday, so therefore it is the SPFL show, where we will take a run through all the remaining games of the weekend. As you can see, the title of this is your Kilmarnock Guarantee European Football. So that will be the place we start. Then we'll run through the rest. And if time allows, I think this week we will touch on what happened yesterday between Rangers and Celtic. But we'll see what we do when we get. So I am joined tonight by Scott Kerr. It's just a two-man show tonight. How you doing, Scott?
I'm not bad, Ian. Better than the day I was yesterday, but listen, life goes on, doesn't it? We know that, and we just have to move on and look ahead. We kind of keep looking back because that's what we continuously do. But I'm looking forward to talking about some of these games because some of the games are quite entertaining. No, I only watched them in sports team, but some of the games are entertaining.
Yeah, they did look entertaining, and some of them I think I had a better opinion of than the sports scene panel, particularly the one we're going to start with in St Mirren Kilmarnock, because they said there weren't a lot of highlights, but they managed to make a decent package of it on the on sports scene. So we'll start there. It seemed that all the games seem to have early chances this week, and for the point of view with Kilmarnock, they started quite strong against St Mirren. Well, you're going to have to help me out through this because obviously I've only just watched them myself because I've been out all day. But we'll get through it. What did you think of Kilmarnock's display to get themselves their guaranteed European football for next season?
I think games between these two have always been quite entertaining. I think the last one was 5-2 with someone getting up 2-0 and then Kelly coming back into it and scoring 5 goals. But I think yesterday's game is a big one because if someone had won, they'd have been equal point, but Kilmarnock obviously won and went 6 ahead, I think. So it was always going to be a tight affair. But on the highlights, Kilmarnock probably just scraped it, but someone's defence were poor, Ian. I thought Big Gogic at the back, who's just signed a new deal for St Mirren. A few times he was kind of all over the place, wasn't he? And the keeper made a couple of good saves, but the goal came from obviously Watkins and the Celtic linking up there. And Millie Watkins has been a great signing for Derek McInnes, and so is Purcell. Both of them run non-stop, they chase everything, they link up really well. And Kilmarnock have just got a good structure, I know, but the boy Wright was missing at the back, but Robbie D's come in and just he was kind of flawless as well in his performance. Kilmarnock just seem to bring players in when players are missing. They play the same way and they give the same type of performance.
Yeah, I mean it started. Well, actually, I think the first chance really fell to St Mirren. I know that the guy was offside, but Dennis wasn't to know that, and he's pulled off a wonder save. Really, if it was any earlier in the season, it would have probably been in contention for save of the season.
Yeah, I think Scott Tanser thought that was in when he had it, but I know he was offside, but it was a good save.
I mean, like Dennis didn't know that at the time, and only the replays that really showed it that he was offside. But yeah, hell of a save from him. I mean, you mentioned Gogic. He seemed to have the sort of a sublime to the ridiculous day. I know he was at fault for a couple of early Kilmarnock chances, and then, like you said, with the goal, he gets stripped by Marley Watkins. I think he's thinking that Watkins has got to cut inside, so trying to hesitate. I don't know if it's just me and my Sunday league mind is like I'd have just cleaned him out because he was outside the box. He's not going anywhere. I'd have put the book in. As long as I don't do like a silly tackle and try to snap a leg or anything like that, take him out, get the book in, and try and go from there. But Watkins done well, gets that ball in, and Purcell does what Purcell does because he's that type of striker anywhere in there, and it's going to end up in the back of the net. But he also, I know in the second half, he had and I want to know what he uses because I want to know how he gets so blooming supple at his age to do a scissor kick in the Killy box to nearly equalise.
Yeah, Tanser done it again, and then the keeper saved it, and it came back to Gogic who tied another one, and just went over the bar. But the Kelly goal, Tanser was caught, wasn't he? He was coming out to maybe, I don't know what he was coming out to do, but Watkins just had the ball in front of him and took another pace, and he was caught flat-footed. I didn't know what Marlon Watkins was going to go, and I can't remember who the centre back for St Mirren was, but he fell on his knees. I was like, I don't know if he studs caught in the grass or he was just taking it back because Gogic get beat that easily, and the ball came across the goal and St Mirren nobody there. And Purcell just put it away really nice. But listen, St Mirren had their chances as well, but I say Kilmarnock just stuck to their task, and it was Armstrong that actually won the ball led up to the goal, which is another good play by the boy Armstrong, and for what Curly's had to spend this season, for what Derek's had to work with, and they've been superb. They've been probably the fourth best team in the league, and if they had a bit more money to spend, don't know where they would have been. But and they play the same way against everybody, and they took points to everybody. It's not like they just play against teams round about them or play against teams in the bottom half. They took points off everybody. You've got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, and there's not many teams that can boast the record that Kilmarnock have got against the Old Firm teams either. I mean, you don't get that every season, and it's not fluke wins either. They've deserved all the points they've got off of pretty much every team in the league this year. And when you consider where they were 2 seasons ago, just coming back into the SPFL after being relegated, I think their first, like coming back up, their first year was just I want to survive, and now they're off to represent Scotland in Europe, and they won't be. I mean, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying they're going to go on a massive European run, but they're not going to be an easy team to beat in Europe when that comes around next season.
No, because of Derek will put his thumbprint on his team. He sets them out really well, and they're all difficult to beat depending on who they get in the draw. But it's a good achievement for them, no matter who they get. The fans will be looking forward to going abroad, and even St Mirren, at a point, Kilmarnock and St Mirren probably restructure finances compared to Aberdeen and Hibs a night and day. Yet the two of them have done really well this season. Robinson at St Mirren and Derek at Kilmarnock compared to Aberdeen and Hibs. They'll probably get bigger wage bills and more money to spend. So the two of them need a round of applause for everybody how well they've done this season. But Kilmarnock has dug deep and done fantastic. And like I said to you before we come in, I was always one that I was against Derek McInnes getting the Rangers job, and I'm not always shot down again. I know, listen, I change my opinion all the time. That's what I do. I'll stick to some of them, but sometimes I'll change my opinion. And I wouldn't mind seeing Derek future, maybe far down the line, getting a chance because he knows the Scottish game really well, and that's what I want us to. That's what I want Rangers to concentrate on. Listen, I love European ones, and we all do. We love the atmosphere at the games. We love beating these teams in Europa League and getting as far as we can, and it's great nights. But you want to do well in your own game, and that's where we're struggling at the moment.
Yeah, we definitely. I mean, if he wasn't to get, and we're going a little bit off on a tangent here, but if he wasn't to get a top 2 job in Scotland, is there a potential that if Stevie Clarke steps aside after the Euros or whatever, that he's moved himself to contention for maybe taking over? Has Kilmarnock become the new conveyor belt for Scotland managers?
I don't know if Derek would take it. He might, or something might interest him, but I think he's still young enough to maybe want day-to-day involvement. But I think further down the line, he could be a contender for the Scotland job, yeah. I think he could be that type of guy. Listen, Clark done really well at Kilmarnock, but Derek McInnes has done miles probably better, considering for where they've came from. So, you don't know, you can never say never, because Scotland national team managers come from all walks of life, and it's a job that some will take, but some do it because it's well paid, but some don't like it because they like their day-to-day involvement, don't they? They like every day get into the training ground, getting about the stadium, the players. They don't like some folk do, but I think Derek maybe in the future's got a chance of that, but I think at the moment he's still young enough to like the day-to-day life with football.
And then just flip it to the other side. Obviously, St Mirren, I believe 5th, was still getting the European spot. Is that still right? Am I still right there?
I'm not 100% sure. I think there could be. Is it if is it not if we win the cup? No.
Well, because because we would. I don't know. These parts of the end of the season, but this is the bit that confuses me. The end of the season gets me. And another bit this the end of the season that confuses me. We'll touch on later when we touch on the bottom 6 in the league. But I mean, St Mirren, they've had a good season. If they have got into Europe this year, and then it'll have to be another massive round of applause to them, because I mean, their chairman come out with what sounded like an audacious statement that I want their St Mirren to be in the Champions League and however long he said it was going to be. But the first step to doing that sort of stuff is getting into Europe in any way, shape, or form.
Somebody just put in the comments again the Euro conference place.
Yes, they did.
Listen, if that's what happening, fantastic for telling us both, then that's congratulations to them as well. And listen, Stevie Robinson's done fantastic there as well with the budget they've got compared to other teams, and they're another team who don't care who they play against to try and play the same type of way. They don't contain team. They don't sit in. They'll play to their strengths, and that's what I like about managers like this. They don't say, right, we're playing against this team, so we need to sit in for 25, 30 minutes and then maybe nick one. They play to their own strengths because they don't care about. They give opposition respect, but they think about themselves more, and they'll probably maybe not expect to win some games, but they've done very, very well. And if they get that place, like Wolf said, then best luck to them again. Because we like to see some Scottish teams do well in Europe. Not
Yeah,
all, but some.
not all, but some. And like I said, it says that the St Mirren chairman has said he wants to see Champions League football, and to get European football, or to get that level of European football, you've got to start somewhere, and the conference is as good a place as any to start, particularly for a club like St Mirren. It's not lauded as the great European competition like the Cup Winners' Cup used to be, but I'm pretty sure our friends, well, where I live, if they were to win a couple more of the Conference League, it would all of a sudden become one of the major European trophies.
One of my first games going to football with my dad when I was young. I remember seeing the Tulip playing at Off Street.
There you go.
Because
there's not many people that can say that.
You get dogs abuse that night.
Did he still have the dreads and the tash then? The dreads and the tash.
I know. I remember him a young boy, but he was really good.
He was always a cracking player. But we'll stick with the top half of the table for now, and we'll make our way to Edinburgh for Hearts and Dundee, which essentially, as the game goes, was a dead rubber. Neither team could move up nor down. Hearts have now got their group stage Europa League football for next season, which in itself is a massive achievement. So that's got them a fair bit of money in the kitty, and they've already started to build for next season. But the one thing, which is a repeated thing when it comes to playing Dundee on this channel, unless they're playing other certain teams, is the amount of space they leave as a defence for teams to attack, particularly for Hearts' second goal. But their first one, the Vargas finish for the opening goal, Barry Mackay with a little bit of magic turns the Dundee defender inside out so much I think he had to buy a ticket to get back in, and then put a ball over, and literally Vargas hits it and puts it in the only place where it can actually find the back of the net.
Yeah, it was a good finish with Vargas. He's one of these guys who you see him this season, you think there's a player and he'll miss a few chances and his confidence kind of drops, and then he scores a couple of goals and his confidence goes up. But he's still a young lad, he's full running, he's full enthusiasm, and he doesn't hide. And obviously he plays with Shankland, so he sees Lawrence scoring all the goals and he maybe wants a few, but that's a great finish. But Mackay done really well. That's what Barry Mackay is like, but we just don't see it often enough to Barry Mackay.
No, and I think they made a point of it in the commentary side of it that he's been out for quite a while with a pretty bad injury, and it's good to see him coming back. But it's Barry Mackay all over. If you give him time and space, he can do amazing things. But the thing in Scotland is you don't get time and space all that often, which makes it harder for him to do his work. But it was one of the Dundee have done really well to get sixth place, but I think as soon as they got sixth place, that was it. They've got the passports out. They've got their away on holiday to somewhere where climate change doesn't affect what's going on, and they pretty much checked out already this season. You can tell that by the way they play. But then a bit of a controversial moment, because I don't know what Nick Walsh thought he saw. Dundee fire one into the box. The ball hits Kingsley. It admittedly hits him in the arm. But the arm's tucked in, Nick Walsh thinks, and then gives a penalty. So it's not like he's automatically given the penalty. He's thought about it and given the penalty, and then obviously quite rightly goes to VAR and gets overturned. But what do you think Nick Walsh at that point saw?
I think nowadays when it hits any part of the arm, and whatever you want to call it, the refs think it's a penalty. Because I don't think they know what to do in that situation, because they're told any arm movement or anything, it should be a penalty. And we've all known before, they use VAR as, I'm saying, a get out clause, but they use it because they can go and check if they think it's been an obvious mistake or whatever, so you'll go and have a look at it, whatever, maybe they'll tell them it wasn't. To be honest with you, I think it was, because I know his arm is tucked in, right, and they say if it's tucked in, it shouldn't have been, but I thought he moved his body out to the ball. Now, I don't know what you thought, but he was standing straight, his leg went out, but I thought his body, and his arm was tucked in, I thought his body moved towards the ball, slightly. But that's just my opinion, but you can see it's totally different. So maybe that's how referees get things wrong, because there's only two of us. Maybe you're thinking different to me, and that's just two guys. So I thought it was, but I can see why it wasn't as well. But to be honest with you, if I was a referee, I'd give a penalty.
Yeah, I will go the other way. And when I saw the replay of it, I mean, admittedly, he's doing it in real time, so he's seen what he's seen and giving it. When I saw the replay, I was like, how is he giving that? Because you can see his arms tucking in. Admittedly, I didn't see the body move. So, like you say, there's only two of us here. No wonder that referees get it wrong. In my mind, it was never a penalty to me, but you think it was?
Me wanted VAR, and me can't agree.
Yeah. So let's just scrap VAR, and then we can have this conversation in a pub, and that's what makes it brilliant. VAR robs us of the pub conversations.
Yeah, those were the days. Going back after the game, learning about decisions, knowing you'll never be able to see.
You miss it when it's gone. See, that's what we always say about certain things. You only know what you've got until it's gone.
Yep.
So into the second half again, we'll get onto the Hearts' second goal. I'll come on to Dundee's manager's comments regarding the VAR at the end because I found that quite funny. But it looked at that point that Dundee were going to break on Hearts. Barry Mackay manages to win the ball back, a little bit of a shimmy, gets out of a tough situation and plays a ball through to Forrest, who just seems to be standing in the middle of Tynecastle all by himself. Dundee have gone. I don't know if the Dundee defenders have come out for the second half at this point, but he's all by himself. The goalkeeper makes the decision. I think he got the decision quite badly wrong because then I think he even realised it. Forrest rounds him, slots it in for 2-0. But where were that Dundee defence?
I don't know. I think they'll fold. One guy went and they'll fold him into it. It looked far too simple, and Forrest must have been wondering why he's standing there alone. But listen, I've never ever thought. I always thought the season Dundee's done okay. They're no great. They've done okay, but I always thought they had issues at the back, which for some reason we didn't exploit. But they've always looked okay. But I think because teams below them have been worse, that's why they finished sixth. They were never going to go down Dundee because they were too good for that. But I think 6 for them is a false finish. But it's just my opinion, and they finished there so they can say to me, well, I'm wrong. But I just think the team below them should have been better, but they weren't. But I think they're taking their flat to deceive at times.
So right, we will get to Dundee's fictional finishing league position when we talk about the bottom 6 in a minute. A game at Tynecastle wouldn't be a game at Tynecastle if Lawrence Shanklin didn't get a goal. And more comical defending from Dundee. In goes Shanklin. Then I think there was only really going to be ever one result when he's got the ball in that area. We know what's coming, and he duly obliged.
Yeah, I mean, Lawrence knows where the goal is, doesn't he? But I think if you watched the highlights, I know it's Johnny Severin, but I thought on the highlights his overall play is getting better. Shanklin's overall play is getting better. He's drifting better. His movement's really good, but he can pick a pass. He can see a pass. He's not just a penalty box finisher anymore. And I think the overall game's improving, but he still knows where the net is. And he's still not signed a new contract with Hearts. He's only got a year left. I heard the other day Hearts are saying they're looking for 7 million. I kind of laughed at that because if he stays until January without saying anyone, he can sign for anybody he likes. So 7 million is quite a laugh for me. So I think if they get to January and he's still not signed, I think it'll take maybe 1 or 2 just to get some money for him. But listen, Shanklin, I know he's been a kind of player that we spoke about numerous occasions. I know when Robert was on the pod, he loved him and was always wanting us to sign him. And I know a lot of people always say he's not good enough, but we've not got a lot of finance at the club. We're struggling for players to put a challenge in, and I think Lawrence knows the league really well. His goal scoring record's great, but overall he's a better football player than some players we have at the moment. So I think it's a no-brainer for me, but I'm not in charge of the recruitment at the club.
Yeah, I think you look at what's gone on from January at our club, and Shanklin would have been I'm not saying we would have guaranteed to win the league if Shanklin was there, but I think we'd have stood a better chance because he can pull a goal out of nowhere, as he proved against Hibs in the 1-1 draw. Right at the last minute, gets the ball, bang, goal. That's the sort of striker he is, and he did it again yesterday. And Hearts giving some time to some young players as well. One of their young guns nearly got a goal. For the life of me, can't remember his name now. It was there, and I was desperate to talk about it, but I didn't realise I'd be hosting, so I didn't make any notes.
Is it James Olsen? No.
Yeah, maybe that might be him. But he comes in, he hits it. Good save from the goalkeeper, puts it, gets it away for a corner. But it's nice to see youngsters actually getting their chance in these teams, because with Hearts and teams like that, and Motherwell, who showed it with Lennon Miller, if these kids are good enough at these clubs, they can come in and they can make these clubs some money going forward. So it's good to see they're getting their chance at the least, and we're getting some good young Scottish talent. And I know he's been banging the goals in for their B team as well. So
I think, listen, they've all got a chance there, because teams like Hearts will give boys who they think are good enough a chance, because if they can save them some money in the transfer market, they'll play these kids, and then you see they'll come through, play maybe season and a half, and they can go for maybe a bit more money to invest back in the team, and that's what I basically want Rangers to do, but what we don't. But I think that the teams like Hearts, and Kilmarnock, Motherwell, you'll get that because they get the time there. The fans appreciate what they do. The manager gives them minutes, not just minutes here and there, but they give them minutes to prove themselves. And I know it's less pressure environment, but they're given a chance.
And then to flip it back over to Dundee, I mean, you can't knock them. They got to the split in 6th, which is where they wanted to be. I think that was if they break their season up, 6th would have been the overall ride-in. That's what the big aim. The second aim, survive. Third aim, please do not get relegated and don't end up in the playoff. So I mean, they've done their bit, but some of their defending in the last few weeks, especially, has been comical. Bar one game where they defended like their lives depended on it, on a quite frankly terrible pitch that's never been good all season. But next season, can they improve on 6 next season? I know we got a couple of games left, but we know now pretty much apart from the bottom 2, we're pretty much where we are. Are they looking to improve on that, or do you reckon it's just to try and get the similar sort of thing for next season?
I think it'll be hard for me, because I think Aberdeen will improve. Hibs, I don't know. It's a flip of a coin with Hibs, isn't it? You don't know what they're going to be like, but I think Aberdeen will improve. And the problem Dundee have is they've got a few young guys in their team. Boyle, Cameron, McCowan. I think they're going to attract interest. So I think if they let them go, they've got offers in, they might be hard to replace. And I think they've got issues in defence as well. I think they may have to go out and buy maybe a couple of centre backs, somebody experienced, and maybe bring through somebody through the academy if they've got anybody there. Because I think the back line does struggle. I think lack of movement's a big issue. Shaughnessy's to me is on his last point at this level. So I think they've done really well. As I said, I'm one of their biggest fans, so I'm the person to ask about Dundee. I just don't really like the football club at all. But I think if you asked Tommy Docherty if he was happy with 6, he'll probably moon that. But like I said earlier, I thought he flattered this year a lot of games, but fair credit to him for finishing 6th.
And I'm going to go and just say that Wolf Enstein tonight is the man with the information. James Wilson was the young forward at Hearts that I was talking about earlier on. He's like, Wolf, we might have to get you on for the SPFL show if you're going to pull out information like that, mate.
I think I said James Wilson.
Okay. But he's pulled it out of the bag there. Let him have it. Let him have his moment. Stop taking it all.
And then I'm playing the final a couple of years ago against Rangers at Hampden, and they look really good for young kids. So listen, good luck to him, and hopefully he can stay in the Hearts first team and get far. That's what you want to see, these young guys coming through. It's good for the Scottish game, but it's good for the clubs as well.
And in the grand scheme of things, that's what football's all about. Living your dream, and hopefully he's going to be able to do that. And whether he stays at Hearts or moves on or whatever it is, good luck to the lad, and let's hope he has a good season. So let's drop down into the bottom 6. And before we talk about the bottom 6, actually, let's get what I meant by the fictional Dundee 6th place finish, because again the split rears its ugly, stupid head, because now we have Aberdeen, Motherwell, and Hibs with 2 games to go, all on more points than Dundee. So is it time that we maybe think about getting shot of this split, or is it just a pipe dream and it's here to stay?
I think it's nonsense, to be honest with you. I think that split's total nonsense. It doesn't make the league any more exciting for me. I think playing somebody 3 times is nonsense. I think we should just keep playing each other. Doesn't matter who it is, the full season. And I think if you get into say you're going into your last game of the season, you're top of your league or second top, you need the point with somebody sitting second bottom. They don't want to go in the playoffs if they're down, so that could be a harder game than playing somebody who's sitting fifth. Do you know that way? Because the person sitting fifth might be another points not to go to fourth or sixth, so they're happy there because they can't move. So I think the split's nonsense, and I would end it this season and just go back to normal the way I play the league. Just play.
I mean, case in point was Ross County beating Rangers 3-1. So no one would have expected it, and it happened. So the team's fighting for their lives. But does it not also rob Aberdeen, Motherwell, and Hibs if it was to remain like that, and they do end the season with more points than Dundee? Does it not rob those 3 teams of a little bit of extra money for league position?
Yeah.
So is that not another reason to say, you know what, get rid of it and let's make Scottish football better in other ways? I know it's difficult with the Sky thing and making it a bigger league to only play each other twice, but there's something we can do to make this better. The split doesn't work, never has. I mean, personally, I'd get rid of the winter break as well, but that's just because I like watching football all the time. I think that the split, I kind of understand it because we're trying to make it more competitive and make it more exciting, but for me, it just doesn't work.
No. I would just keep it. I just go back to normal. Just go back to normal fixtures throughout the season, see what happens. Yeah, because I think, like you say, the top 6 have got a position. Well, depending on how you're fighting at the top, but fifth, fourth, fifth, and sixth could be like Hearts was going to catch them. But if you're Aberdeen or Hibs or Motherwell and you've got more points than the person that's finished 6th, it does rob your money, and it also makes you look like a bit farcical, doesn't it? I mean, somebody sitting 6th has got like 46 points, and somebody sitting 7th has got like 50 odd points. It's nonsense. So I would just spin it and go back to normal.
And if you look at it another way, I mean, Aberdeen are only 2 points off St Mirren, so we potentially robbing Aberdeen of a European place.
Yeah, I mean,
so there you go.
I mean, I like trying to say in your first 3 quarters of the season, that's where you should play all your stuff, and then if you don't make it into the top 6, then sod you. Basically,
you
know what I mean?
Basically, that is it. So, right, Scott, we're going to have to be honest at this point, mate, because we're going to talk about Aberdeen and Hibs. And due to the fact that it was today's game and the highlights, I wasn't home to watch the game live. I was out because it's my mother-in-law's birthday, so you've got to make sure that one's taken care of. So I was at the beach, as you can probably tell by the redness of the face. So I haven't even watched the highlights of this game either because they were only on at 7:15 this evening.
So my tips, I've not watched them myself. I've seen the score, I've not even seen the goals, but I'll watch it later. But it's a good performance from Aberdeen. Hibs, I don't know where they go. I thought Montgomery was going to come in. I thought at the start, it looks like he knows what he's trying to do, and you thought, fair play to him, it's not working, but he's sticking to his guns. But I think he stuck to him too much, and I think the players now have stopped listening to him because they can see by the results. And I think all Hibs can do is maybe look at a change. I don't know where Mick Montgomery goes for him, because that's not just getting beat at home, it's an absolute humping. And Aberdeen on the other side, the fans must be wondering, where were these performances earlier on in the season? I know they've had a few different managers, and I know you said before they come on, the pressure's off them to go out and play. But that still makes a mockery of your fans, because you should be playing like that. Doesn't matter if the pressure's on or off, because that's basically heroic euphemism, that's their job. But you know what I mean? It's like Aberdeen squad is better than some squads in the top 6, but they've not proven it because they've been poor. For them today, they go away to Hibs and 1-4. And you say they're only 2 points behind St Mirren if the league table was back to normality. So they have got a point to prove, but I think it's too late for them. But Hibs have got a big job in the summer. I know they've got a link up with Bournemouth, I know they've got different owners. But would you give Nick Montgomery next season? Because personally, listen, I don't care if he stays or not, because I'm no interest either way. But on the show, I'll have to say no. If I was a Hibs fan, I'd be looking for somebody different to be in charge.
I was actually thinking about this earlier on. Will there be any managerial changes throughout the summer? And going down the list, obviously Aberdeen have got their new man coming in for the start of next season, so they're not going to be changing the manager. Celtic won't be getting rid of Brendan Rodgers at all. We're not going to be getting rid of Clement. Hearts are going to keep Naismith. Killie are going to keep McInnes. Dundee and St Mirren aren't going to get rid of anyone. The ones at the bottom, unless Levine decides he's going to leave St Johnstone, I don't think he's going. Unless Martindale decides to leave Livingston, he's not going. Kerry's going to stay at Ross County regardless. So Hibs is the only one out of all the teams that are in the league. They've got the potential to replace their manager. And here comes late substitution, pulled himself out of his sick bed. Connor has come to join us. I mean, I'm assuming he's ill and he's not using that as an alibi and dressed up as a clown earlier on or something like that. But he's with us. He looks pale.
He looks totally done.
That's what I've done.
Yes, how we doing, boys? No, Ian, you continue. I just wanted to try and come on and sort of help you out. Have a wee.
So have you seen the Hibs Aberdeen game?
No, I was in my sick bed.
Yeah. almost as good as last week when you mentioned the handball for the penalty, and me and Martin just went, "Yeah, I didn't see that. Sorry."
No, I was working overtime this morning, and then came back home feeling dreadful and was in my bed, so I didn't see a second of it.
But why would you? Why would any of us want to watch it? It's only the Scottish football show we're doing here after all. So why would we even want to watch it? So basically the goal scorers for Aberdeen was Leighton Clarkson got the first one on the 30th. Is it Derek Polvara? Is that Derek his first name? Either I'm just making it up. Got the second one on the 39th. Miovski gets his on the 52nd. And I'm going to give this one to you, Scott, because you were talking about Boyd before we came on. So I'll let you take over and explain who the Boyd is, and it's not the all-smiling Sky pundit Chris.
No, Fletcher Boyd, a young guy, comes to Aberdeen Academy. And after him scoring today, he becomes our youngest ever goal scorer. So well done to the kid, and hopefully he's got a big future ahead of him. But I like to see things like this. I know it's Aberdeen and we've got issues with each other, but it's good to see young guys going on the park and getting a chance and doing stuff like this, because, like I said earlier, I like to see young Scottish players coming through.
And hopefully he can go on to good things as well, because if it's good for the league, it could also be good for the country. And not everybody's thoughts go to international football, but the more kids we get coming through, the better that the future for our game is, both domestic and internationally. So fair play to them. So that's all we can really do for the Hibs Aberdeen game, because none of us have watched it. We're all sacked.
I'd like to say, Connor, would you, if you were Hibs, would you keep Montgomery? If you think you need to replace?
I mean, I think personally, I think it just depends what direction I want to go in, because they've sacked a lot of managers over the last few years, haven't they, Hibs? And I think that they're going to have to eventually stick with one and give them the chance. I've not seen enough for Nick Montgomery to make me think he's going to change anything. So for me, I'd be removing him and bringing in somebody else to try and rebuild over the course of the summer and give them something to start for scratch. Because to be fair to Nick Montgomery, that's something he's not really had, because he took over for Lee Johnson, and the mentality was maybe a bit better under Montgomery at times than Johnson. But I just think if Hibs have any desires on getting top six again next season, I'm not convinced Montgomery's the right man to get them that.
Listen, my dad's not going to like me for this, but I think Stevie Robinson's is a man that they should go for.
Do you know what? I totally agree. I think he's exactly who they should be going for. What he does when he goes into clubs, he done it at Motherwell when he took them over, totally rebuilt them, done the same with St Mirren, and has solidified them as a top six team back-to-back season. So I think it's exactly what Hibs need, is a Stevie Robinson.
Yeah, I was surprised that Aberdeen didn't take a look at Stevie Robinson more seriously. I know he was linked, but I'm surprised they didn't take a look at him. So maybe that's an issue. But like I said, out of all the teams in the league, it's only Hibs that I can really see making a change themselves. The other ones that could change will be if the managers themselves decide to leave at the end of the season because of the positions they're in. But we'll and as we're on that, we'll drop down then to those two teams in the or those three teams that are in the mire, should I say, because Ross County and Motherwell as well will go to next. Quite a high-scoring game in the end. Didn't look like it was going to be that way, but quite a high-scoring game. I think will be remembered for a certain Mr. Laidlaw in goal for this one. Did not cover himself in glory today at all. From someone who is generally quite reliable. I'll go Kerr first. Go for Kerr first on this if I can get my words out.
I mean, did Ross County think when they beat us that was them safe because they don't really perform since, or are we just that bad? Watching that game, Ross County were all over the place. Motherwell scored 4 goals, we're giving a lot more. It's like, what was the keeper doing? What was the defender doing? I know Simon Murray scored and he always usually does, but they were all over the place. I just think it's a poor performance, and Laidlaw, I don't know what he was doing. But they've had a few different keepers this season who's had a few different clangers, but I think that's probably the worst I've seen.
Yeah, was pretty obvious. But before, I think even before Laidlaw made that hysterical first error for the goal, a certain Mr. Andy Halliday was put through. He could have actually driven a bus to
I'm
give.
saying 4. It's actually 5. I got
it was 5. Yeah, they got a late one.
Yeah,
It was the last I heard it was 4, so I got a bit of a shock when I watched the highlights as well. Saw the 5th one go in, so I just assumed that one was offside. But the man former of this parish, Mr. Andy Halliday, was put clean through. Nobody anywhere near him, which seems to be a running theme this weekend when it comes to players getting chances and scoring goals. It was no one anywhere near him, and for me, Connor, he should have done a lot better. I know he hits the target, but he kind of fires it straight at Laidlaw when maybe aiming for a corner was probably better.
Yeah, I think so. I think you've got to, in that situation, try and pick a corner and make the keeper work for it, because the keeper's hoping that you're going to hit that straight at him and make his life a lot easier than forcing him to have to try and pull off an almost impossible save down in one of his corners, that quickly. The reactions are going to have to be sharp. So I think he probably should have picked the corner there. But I think when you see players who are not strikers going through in those situations, those are the little moments that you can tell they're not strikers. That's the difference between a striker and a defensive midfielder like Andy Halliday. Where he might score you 1 or 2, just on a first timer. Give them time to think about it, and they're not as decisive. Whereas I can almost guarantee you, if that's Theo Bear, for example, that's through there, that's a goal, 100%.
And then we move on to the spectacular moment from Laidlaw with just a big long punt upfield from the Motherwell goalkeeper's name's just completely gone out of my head there, and I know exactly who he is. I can see him, but we'll move on. He's lumped it up the field. Nice long ball through. I don't think he ever expected it to lead to an assist, but for some inexplicable reason, and I've watched this back.
You talk about Liam Kelly there.
Yeah. Smashes it through. And for whatever reason, Laidlaw doesn't pick it up, seems to lose the ball. It parries out to Blair Spittle, who has the easiest job of any forward player this season, and just rolls it into an empty net. Talk to me, Scott. What was going on?
There's not a lot as a manager or anybody else you can do that. It's just an error for the goalkeeper. And at that time, he probably went to ground to open up and swallow him up. But these things happen. But it was poor. But let's say these things happen. It's just an error. But it's a poor error. Like I said earlier, a couple of keepers do clangers, but I don't know, unless he was already thinking wait to punt the ball or wait to throw the ball next. I don't know what he was doing. He just obviously took his eye right off it and was 2 steps ahead of himself.
Yeah, and then it doesn't actually get any better for him after that, because, like you said, he probably wanted the ground to come up and swallow him up. I think if the ground had chosen a moment to do it, it would have been before what comes next, because the ball comes swinging in. He jumps up for it, misses it completely. Ross County lose a third goal. No, at this point, second goal, sorry. To, again, equally poor. Actually, did it go 1-1? It did, didn't it? It went 1-1. I'm going too far ahead. We'll come back to Simon Murray in a minute, because I've already started and I'm not changing. So I'm just going to get the Laidlaw show out of the way, because we thought Lundstram had a bad weekend. I'm pretty sure this is up there with him. He's claiming a free kick. He's saying that the strikers impeded him. I can't see these days. Just gone up, missed it, and then Motherwell have scored again. Connor Laidlaw, will he be glad the season's coming to an end?
I think after that performance there, he certainly will be. I think he's, again, I have no idea what he's complaining about. I've looked at it. I even rewound it back to have a look again because I thought, have I missed something? Why is he complaining? But he's absolutely nothing to complain. He's come out and he's not been decisive enough. And as a goalkeeper, you've got to take command of your area, and you come out to those balls, and if you can't catch them, then you punch them away. That's what goalkeepers do. He did neither. He was totally indecisive. I think maybe because of what had happened not long before that maybe knocked his confidence in the game and caused that slight bit of hesitation. And again, absolutely, sells the jerseys basically. That being said, his defenders don't do him any favours either because you can't have a man free at the back post. I mean, I know it's Paul McGinn. I know he's not known as a goal scorer, and he's obviously a defender, but he's been allowed to peel off absolutely scot-free with nobody on him. And even if your keeper misses that, if you've got somebody there, they might be able to put in a block or a tackle or at least put pressure on it, and he might miss hit it. Because as I say, he's a defender, not a striker, so you never know. But they don't do it. I just think, I think for Ross Laidlaw, this season can't come to an end quick enough for him. And he'll be desperately hoping that they don't end up having to play an extra couple of games in a playoff.
Well, they did last season, and it was probably one of the most dramatic playoffs we've had in a fair while. I feel there's method to my madness, because if we had gone straight into the Simon Murray equaliser, I'd have been back to you, Scott, for the second mistake. So I wanted to get wanted to get Connor's take. I mean, it doesn't look anything like Ross. They take a take on the other one. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it, and you won't change it, and it will stand up in a court of law and everything. So the equaliser for Ross County. Again, Kelly at this one. I'm blaming Kelly on this one. It was a good ball through. I think that he's tried to judge where Simon Murray's going to put it and got it badly wrong, and he's gone the other way, and he's completely wrong-footed himself when he should have just stood up. And I think if he stands, he saves it. But Simon Murray, of all the people that you want in the Ross County forward line at the moment to get a chance to get you back into the game, he's the man you want.
To be honest with you, Simon Murray does a good job. He's really good one-on-one and knows where the goal is. And we've said it before in the pod about how Ross County can score goals, but if they're going to defend like this, then they're going to be in serious trouble. I think they're just lucky St Johnstone are just as bad. But I took it well, but I don't know if I blame the keeper. I'm not a big fan of Liam Kelly. I think he's vastly overrated and he's okay, but nothing more than that. But I thought Murray took it well.
I'm only going with that because if it was me and me being a goalkeeper, I'd be raging with myself that I've tried to guess where he's putting it and not stood. That's the only reason I'm going with that. And I don't know if Connor agrees, him also being in the goalkeepers union the
worst thing a goalkeeper can do is try and preempt what a striker's going to do. Because if you go down too early, then you're giving them all the time in the world to make, to change their mind and to go the other way or whatever. I think you've got to stay, on your feet until the last possible minute. You come out and you make yourself as big as you can, you close down the angle, and you stay up for as long as you can. And at the last possible second, almost as their foot is touching that ball, when they can't change their mind, that's when you make that decision. Because, just don't make the striker's life easy. Don't make the decision for him. That being said, Simon Murray does, to be fair to him, take it well. And it's one of those ones that, Liam Kelly maybe could do better with, but in fairness to him, Simon Murray is a decent goal scorer, and you put him in those situations, he'll put it past most goalkeepers.
Yeah. We go into the second half. I mean, Ross County is still in it. There's always that chance that, the longer you stay in the game, the better you've got. We're getting further and further into it. They had a couple of chances. Nothing from what I can remember on the highlights, because again, that's what I've seen. That says that they missed dynamic chances that should have got them equalisers. But then in the last 8 to 12 minutes of the game, because I think it was the injury time as well, Motherwell just seemed, I don't know whether Ross County just ran out of steam or Motherwell just found another gear going into the last bit. But Blair Spittle with an absolute worldie from outside the box. But what I will say leading up to it is that Theo Bair had 3 defenders come to try and get the ball off him, and he sent them all packing, which left the space for Spittle to pop one into the far corner.
I think Ross County are trying to press for an equaliser because they know they're running out of time and maybe putting centre backs up and stuff like that. But Bair does really well, but his composure from Spittle was tremendous. And we've seen it this season, not a couple of times, we've seen it quite a lot this season. I think that's why he's moved to Hearts in the summer. But it's a great finish. As soon as you hit it, you know it's going in. But it's not the first time he's trying to go for the first spot like that. And I'm actually quite happy he's getting moved to Hearts because I've seen Spittle starting for Queen's Park and going. He was at Ross County, he was at United, he'd been at Ross, who else he was at Motherwell, and it's good to see him eventually going to one of the bigger clubs in Scotland because I think the boy's got ability, and it's good to see him getting the move he deserves, and obviously, hopefully he does really well. Not against us, but hopefully he does well because he's one of these players, he's good to watch, very good, technically really good footballer, and when he's played against us, he always causes us issues, and so he's got good composure. And he can finish. His finish has been superb this season, but he's a really good football player. I like him.
He is, and like I said, we said earlier, Hearts have already done their shopping because they've got one from each team that played in that game because they've taken Dander as well, which is another great signing, I think, for Hearts to take in Jan Dander as well. Because I think he's one of the more highly quality players from the Ross County team. And then we get to the 90th minute, and this is where I was hoping that Connor was actually hosting tonight, because I did remember him scoring and going, crank Christ, I ain't got to say that name. But it is Dravkovsky. Have I got that right? That sounds about right. And my apologies to all Motherwell fans if I've got that wrong.
I would have said
you would have said the same. Cool.
Yeah.
Young player gets his goal. A decent finish into the corner. Again, I think at this point, the steam has well and truly been put out from Ross County point of view. But yeah, a very good finish, I thought, from the young fella.
Yeah, it was a great finish. It's a good ball into him as well, to be fair. But I think, as you say, at that point, I think County's legs had absolutely gone. I think they had been on the end of a very tough afternoon there, and they obviously just didn't have it in them to try and keep defending that line. And yeah, it's a good goal for him. Positives, of course, there for Motherwell. You get a young player like that getting on the score sheet, and sure he'll be one they'll be looking at. His development and improving him next season as well. So, no, a great finish. I always think for young players that when games like that happen, which don't come along very often, where you're in such control of the game and you're absolutely dominating it, and almost every time you go forward, you look like scoring. I always think it's very good and beneficial for young players to get on the score sheet in those games, because sometimes you think they might come off and go, well, I maybe could have had one there. But as you say, he took it really well.
Yeah, and then that's the point where me and Scott thought the game was done and just thought, yeah, no need to worry about that anymore. It's 90th minute. They've won 4-1. We'll walk away. But surprise, surprise, another ex-employee of Ross County pops up in the 94th minute. One, I think, pretty much the last action of the game to make it 5. It was a fairly decent goal. A nice round the corner pass into Harry Payton, who sticks it away with aplomb, as they say.
He does, I know. You're a bit embarrassed by him, isn't he? Because it was that easy. And he scored against his former club. But it was well deserved victory for Motherwell. Played really well. And Ross County can't suffer fools gladly. They'll have to bounce back because they've got a couple of big games in these playoffs. And like they said, if they could be playing Thistle again, and if you go the opposite way, because we're the first division team or the championship team, They're going to be confident because neither Ross County or St Johnstone look great. So these championship clubs will be confident against either one of them.
Yeah, and I think Ross County can probably count themselves lucky as we go into the last game of this weekend to finish it off from the outside of the Old Firm teams. And that St Johnstone decided today was the day that they would. I mean, to them, they've probably gone to go, right, we've gone to Livingston. They've already been relegated. They've got nothing really left to play for. Just concentrate, get it done, and we will walk away with the 3 points. But it wasn't to be for them, even though they dominated this game. I can't remember the actual stat. I'm going to find it before we go. They had, well, it says 4. No, am I looking at the wrong one? I'm looking at the wrong game. That's why. But St Johnstone did start off quite well, and Sidibe manages to get them in front. And at that point, you would have thought that St Johnstone would just run off with it, Connor, and just be the team that goes on to get the 3 points and probably get themselves back into contention for missing out on that playoff spot.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know it's a cliche thing to say, but I can guarantee one thing, right? See the St Johnstone fans yesterday, right? When their team have gone in front in particular, knowing that the next game in the horizon for them is against Ross County on Wednesday night, they'll have been checking what was happening up in Dingwall, checking the scores to see if they're going to get the advantage, and they'd have been thinking, "Oh, tell you what a shout they're in with here." And those St Johnstone players, you have. This is why I think they will finish in the playoff spot, because you look at Ross County and you look at St Johnstone. If Ross County were in the position they were in and had the chances they did, they would have won that game. In fact, they did win that game against Livingston a couple of weeks ago. And that's because primarily they've actually got strikers who can score goals. I mean, that's the difference for me between guaranteeing safety and not, is the fact that they're going to have, Ross County with players like Jordan White who can come on and score you a goal if needed, Simon Murray, who we spoke about there, a couple of others, to boot, helps. St Johnstone don't have it. They control large parts of that game yesterday and didn't take any of the chances they created. Even then, there wasn't many gilt-edged chances that they had either, which is really poor. I get it. It's not always easy to go and play a team who are already relegated and have got nothing to play for, because that gives Livingston a freedom they maybe wouldn't otherwise have had, because they can go, well, look, we're already down. We're playing just for pride here. Let's just go and see how many points we can get on the board between now and the end of the season and look forward to what happens next year. But, even then, you think the goal that St Johnstone scored, they got a bit of luck with it, because the ball comes in, the boy, I can't remember who it is, actually mishits his shot, and it, by total luck, lands at the feet of Sidibe, who does score it. But no, I'll tell you that St Johnstone will get everything they deserve, and it looked to me on the pictures for Sports Scene that St Johnstone fans, a few of them, were almost in the park. They were absolutely furious, and you don't see that kind of reaction for their fans very often, but clearly they're not having whatever Levine's trying to sell them right now.
I'm just amazed you managed to pick out fans in amongst all those seats at the Tony Macaroni or whatever it's called this week. The stat I was looking for, Scott, was that St Johnstone had 25 shots in that game. 25 shots. When was the last time St Johnstone had 25 shots in one game, let alone a collective amount of games? And for having 25 shots, they only had 7 on target the entire game.
I don't know. Don't have a clue, but listen, Nicky Clark that was did a couple of hard chances it should be taken, because he is a striker. Well, he's a decent striker, but he's a good striker in the championship game, as we know. And he had a couple of hard chances. One he was through, and the other took it. But like Connor said, that's the issue with St Johnstone. They don't score enough. They maybe not let in as many as Ross County times, but they don't score enough. But I would say the first goal Livingston got, I thought Meathoff was at fault. I'm not a keeper like used to. But he was beaten to his near post. There wasn't a lot of room there to get beat. And I thought that was poor, because I've seen him save better stuff in that, and I thought we should have done better and keep that out. But that's just me.
Yeah, I can go along with that, and but then I hate every single goal I let in. I think I could have saved it. So my fives team will be testament to that, where I'm told to calm down on it. But I mean, I'd say that St Johnstone had 25 shots and only 7 on target. Equally, Livingston out of nowhere seemed to. I mean, not that the highlights actually showed this. Really, they had 15 shots on target, 15 shots and 8 on target. So overall, Livingston managed to somehow come out on top with shots on target, and we get to their equalising goal from Montano. I'm having a nightmare with names as per normal. But Montano, wow, Mitov for me. Mitov, Jesus. Might possibly be having a stroke, people. Just keep an eye on me. The near post. I mean, no one should be getting beat at the near post, Connor. No one.
No, in an ideal world, you really shouldn't get beat at your near post. I think most goalkeepers would be telling you that. Again, though, I thought it was dreadful defensively for St Johnstone. I mean, it's really poor because it's a corner kick. You know, these are the things that you do on the training ground. This is your bread and butter, this sort of stuff. And it's just basic errors. Because, okay, it's a decent corner. It's swung into the back post in a good area. Why is Montano by himself? Why is there not a single St Johnstone player out marking him? There's no excuse for it. It's not like they had a man less or anything like that. You know, it was 11v11. Sorry, excuse me. So there's no excuse for that really to be the case, and yet it was, and he gets in, and yeah, he finishes it well. But again, positioning your goalkeeper, if he's just slightly further out, he gives himself the angle that he can close it down. But it was just absolutely dreadful for St Johnstone. Although fair play to Montano because it's a decent finish.
It is that you can't. I mean, you take any goal when you can get it. Just a shame for Livy. These results now seem to have been coming a bit too late, and then they go into their injury time, and the other Shinnie brother, the one that we kind of like a little bit compared to the other guy, manages to nick in and get a last minute winner for Livingston and keeping St Johnstone in the mire, so to speak, and giving Ross County that massive let off considering the result they've had today. To be honest, that goal has really slipped my mind now. But I know it was Andrew Shinnie because I had the shout from the commentator. But talk me through it, Scott. Go for it.
To be honest with you, I can't remember it, but no, I think I was thinking it'd be put that in a box and Shinnie was on the end date. But you see the St Johnstone players' reaction, they were gutted because this was a game they probably thought they'll take something from, and not 3 points will take something from, because obviously Livingston are down, but that can make teams more dangerous at times. But Craig Levine must have said to his players, you can't afford to lose this one, because you need to win every game between now, because Ross County's our next game. So listen, I'm hoping Ross County stay up, because I want St Johnstone down. Yeah, I think they're awful. I'm our biggest fan of Levine, and I don't like McDermott Park, so that's my 3 reasons.
Well, let me ask you this very quickly then, Keir. If you want St Johnstone down, who would you like to see replace them, Wraith or Partick?
I like Wraith more than I like Partick, but I don't really like any two of them. I'd have probably went here today, but they get beat, so.
Same here.
So for being closer to where I live, probably Thistle. But I'm not the biggest Thistle. I don't make the team knows much, but their fans are fucking idiots. That's just my opinion. If any Thistle fans are watching, that's what I think.
I'll chime in. I'll go for Wraith just because I've been to both grounds and I prefer Kirkcaldy than I do to Thistle's Place. But equally, when I went to Thistle's Place, that stand that is now just a grass bank was actually still open. So that's how long ago it was since I've been there.
Yeah, well, personally, I'd be saying the same. I'd be going for Wraith as well. don't like Thistle, partly because Clyde had been my local team for years, and obviously there's always that rivalry between them. Also partly because I can't stand most of their fans. And see, to be fair, there's the football romanticist in me going, it would be nice to get a new team in the top flight, because we've not seen that for a while yet. Probably since Livingston came up, because they were down for so long beforehand. So I wouldn't, I certainly wouldn't mind that at all. And I will just quickly say, sorry, Ian, but as next week is the final games of the season, and obviously the playoff game takes place on the Friday night, we will include the playoff semi-final in the Scottish Football Show next week, primarily because of the ramifications that we'll have, and by then we'll know who's going to be playing each other in that game. So just so everybody knows, we'll throw that in there.
Fair enough. Another reason, one more reason why I don't want Thistle to come up, and it's that bloody stupid mascot they've got. But that's just personal preference on that one. Okay, so we talked about the rest, and as is now seemingly the new tradition with the Scottish Football Show, we will just touch briefly on what happened yesterday in the lunchtime kickoff at Parkhead. And we'll go through that because obviously we will have both sides of the Old Firm divide watching, and it is the SPFL show, so we have to give them their moment. As much as we probably don't want to, we need to do it. Care, let's go back to it. Yesterday afternoon, quickly brush over it because we did talk about it a lot yesterday, and no doubt everybody who's in this chat was probably watching this yesterday after the game as well.
Listen, when I seen the lineup yesterday, I wasn't confident. I wasn't confident before the game, to be honest with you. I've been confident all week just because I know these players. I've seen it often enough. We all have. We get Holt's got up, and then this team just kicks us right in the nuts. But after when I seen the lineup, I wasn't confident at all. Too often we try to contain them instead of just playing their own game and getting out there and having a go. And I know people say, well, you're going to there. But other teams go there and give it a go and come away with results. We don't. And by the time we're 2-0 down, we kind of start to play. Don't want to go over the game because I didn't think we were great at all. I thought we could win by more. Yeah, I know we got a goal back, and it was probably the best move of the match from us. And apart from the one that Silver did miss ahead, I thought we should have done better with. But I thought we were poor. I think we looked a bit better when Sterling went to centre back. I thought he played really well there. But I will say, the manager, I was 100% I am Kilmarnock. Now, I'm not sitting here advocating sacking him. I'm not. But I'm not going to say we can't sack him because we can't keep sacking managers. Because for me, that's not an excuse to keep him either. But I think he's got 2 Old Firm games coming up, Scottish Cup final, and then the first one at Celtic Park, or Parkhead if I was watching, next season. And I think if he loses A2, now it could all change, as we know. When the cup final, we're all back on the Kilmarnock bandwagon, and everything's great because that's what football fans do. And Walter always said that Rangers are 2 games for a crisis. But I think if he loses A2 games, I don't really see a way back from him, no matter who it is. You can't continuously lose to your opposition, to your rivals, because they're winning far too easy for me against us. They're winning far too easily. I know, and it's happened for so long. And you're going into these games now, apart from when Stephen Gerrard was here, I know we only won 1 title, but we went into the games under Gerrard, we only scared of Celtic. We had a number 1 and stuff, but we only scared the game against them 1-1. But under Gio, under Bill, and now Kilmarnock, we give them too much respect, and I'm not taking this argument saying Celtic on the day. That makes it worse for us if they're not great, because we're fucking awful. So, but I think a lot of yesterday's on the manager, and I've been fed out the manager the last few weeks, so I was all in on the manager. I'm probably now 50-50 in the manager. And I think some of his decisions and treatment of some players has been dreadful. And some of his favourite players have been awful, but he keeps playing them.
Yeah, and Connor, if you were watching the post-match reaction yesterday, you'll know that Lewis has used up all the fucks for everybody for the next year. Kerr managed to get one in there. That's a fine. Martin sees this. That's a fine. You know it is. But the one thing that I can't, and I hate myself for this, I agreed with Peter Grant. I agreed with him because he said that yesterday one team, and that being Rangers, were there to just stop Celtic, whereas Celtic wanted to win the game, and nothing from yesterday has me disagreeing with that. There was one team at the start, at the very least, that looked like they wanted to win the game, and it certainly wasn't Rangers, it was Celtic. And to be fair, going 2-0 up, it didn't really flatter them. I didn't feel anyway. What was your thoughts?
I think I don't know that I necessarily say going 2-0 up didn't flatter them. I think they had been the better team in the first half, but I thought actually until they scored, we had done okay in terms of trying to press them in the attacking areas. My big pet peeve was that time and time again we were letting them get free shots from the edge of the box. And I'm sitting watching it, and O'Reilly has put a couple wide. Forrest has had a few. I remember the last one before O'Reilly scored that he put wide, and I turned to the guy who was sitting next to me, and they both said, well, look, if we continue to let this happen, they're going to score one of these. They're not going to keep putting these wide. One of these is going in the back of the net. Sure enough, the next one that happens goes in, and the defending is atrocious. Why is he getting that space time and again? And Borna Barisic, for me, has to be getting out to that quicker. Lundstrom, potentially, although in his defence on that one, he is marking his man. He's doing the job he should be doing in terms of trying to stop the cross coming in. Barisic is doing nothing. He's not marking anybody. He should be stepping out to O'Reilly and stopping the shot. He doesn't. And it was poor, really poor. We can't deny that they do get a massive slice of luck for that second goal, because I don't know what John... I mean, I have watched it back. I still don't know what John Lundstrom was doing. I can't answer the question as to what on earth he's thinking there, because for me, and I don't know, you might disagree, when that comes in, the last thing you do is try and put it back towards your own goal. You smack that ball back the way it's came, and you send it out for a corner or a throw-in. That's what every defender does. And instead, he sort of side-footed it beyond. But I mean, it's actually a great finish if it's at the other end of it.
Actually, lazy defending, Connor. Very lazy defending. Very lazy defending.
Yep. He's just sort of stuck the leg out lazily and not really made the effort to properly deal with it. And he had plenty of time and space. There was no Celtic players around him either, so there was no pressure on him. And like I say, even if he didn't know that and he thought of that, he could still just clear it. But even then, I did think, to be fair, we reacted well to going 2-0 down. We did start pressing more. I thought one of the positives for yesterday actually was Silva. I thought Alistair Johnson couldn't handle him yesterday. Silva, probably one of his better performances. And maybe unlucky not to have got a goal himself. But when we got back to 2-1, I'm thinking, well, we're starting this game. 11 men in the park. It's a bit nervy for them. We can still nick this. And then John Lundstrom, what are you doing? What are you in that area of the park? What are you doing? Kenny Miller seems to be on an island of his own in terms of thinking it's not a red card. I mean, look, I see his point in that, of course, John Lundstrom has every right to go for the ball there, but he doesn't have the right to lunge in at that kind of space. You just can't do it. And to me, that's what's unforgivable. I can forgive him making a mistake and giving away the own goal, even though it's inexplicable and lazy. I can just about forgive that and say, right, okay, I can't forgive you for that. He's cost us the league title with his performance yesterday, quite frankly. I know a lot of others are involved in that as well, but I think if we're honest enough, if he doesn't score an own goal and then get himself sent off all in the space of 10 minutes, every chance we'd have still got something for that game. So for me, he's cost the team weak-minded mentality. You know what it reminded me? Do you remember when Scott Wright come on and get sent off against Aberdeen when we were 3-1 down? Reminded me of that. It was like he didn't want to be in the pitch and almost deliberately got himself sent off. Really poor. And I agree with Kerr. Phil's not unsackable, and he's got to find a way to beat Celtic. I think, but the league title's gone. It's finished. Right, they'll be crowned champions. If not Wednesday, absolutely next weekend they will officially get that league title. What we have to do, in my opinion, is salvage the only thing we can salvage for this season, which is a cup double. Now, it's not the league title, absolutely not. But I think if we can beat them in the cup final and get a cup double under our belts, at least it's something, some sort of building blocks will be there for Philip Collins to try and work with. Because obviously it's always easier to try and work with stuff and when you've won a couple of things than it is if you've not won anything. But that's all we can do is next weekend go and beat them in the cup final, actually get a win against them. Because I'll tell you now, and I'll just finish on this point, they will, because they've won the league title, they'll demean that cup final as if it doesn't mean anything. They'll say it means nothing. They don't care about it. We all know that's nonsense. It's a cup final against your biggest rivals. It still means that you still want to win it. They want to win a league and cup double. Of course they do. If we can stop that and stop the rot in these games against them, who knows? But there's a massive rebuild needed again in the summer. And I think that there's got to be serious discussions had at board level as well, because they've allowed this to happen. They're the ones that appointed Michael Beale and allowed him to go on a spending spree and bring in absolutely hopeless players. And now Kilmarnock's got to come in and try and somehow, yet again, we're having the same conversation. Let's rebuild in the summer and see what happens. We shouldn't be doing that a year after our prior rebuild. So, yeah, massive questions to be asked.
I'm wanting to bring Lundstrom back in for the cup final.
Absolutely not. No, not a chance.
What about? I think he will, because I think I wasn't defending him, his comments, but he wasn't slagging him either. Like he said, he's done really well over the past few months. I was lost at that point, but I think Clement brings Lundstrom back in. I think he still thinks he's one of his better players, and I think if he does, that could be his undoing.
He can't. How can he trust him?
But I think we all said it yesterday that we don't think he should, but we all know he will, and that's the worry. Well, Lewis,
for me,
Lewis was the only one who said we should get in contact with the SFA and just tell them how bad that tackle was, and can we please make it a 3-game ban?
Yeah. Well,
the cup final competition.
You take it out, and I tell you right now, you start Tom Lawrence, you start Raskin, whoever. I don't care.
I wouldn't start Lawrence against Celtic. I think Lawrence.
I wouldn't start him again. I know what you're saying. Get Raskin in instead of him. Get Lawrence in instead of him. Anybody but him. I was going to make more points on it, but I think what we've done
just
there.
One more time before we go. What's the issue with Campbell? Campbell's an enigma with Rangers fans, right? Some like him, some don't. Some think he's hopeless, some think he's decent. I personally think he's a good player, but I think he should be given his more than he does. But I don't like the treatment for the manager for him. I think yesterday the manager was trying to prove a point and put him on the bench, but not using him. I think that was poor. I think it was very poor. I think when you're bringing on players like Scott Wright before Todd Campbell, when you're chasing a goal, I think that's poor. If you want to prove a point, tell Todd to sit in his living room and watch it from home. Don't sit him on a bench when you're getting beat and bring on players. You know it's not going to change the game, but he probably could.
Well, exactly. The thing is, as well, I'm watching that there yesterday, and Celtic were battering on the door in that second half, but they couldn't score. And all of a sudden, with 10 minutes to go, it got nervy. They really started. We're told how they're absolutely mental giants and are world beating, but they were nervy against 10 men yesterday. And for me, look, a draw still wouldn't have done it for us. The league still would have been done with a draw. Realistically, we needed to win. But I'm looking at that saying to myself, we're needing a goal here to try and, we can score the now with 10 minutes to go. That's going to be an unbelievable finish to this game. But to try and salvage something, I'm looking for a goal here, and I'm going, why are you not bringing Campbell on? And he's still on Scott Wright, and you're going, with due respect to Scott Wright, no chance. Is he the guy you would turn to in a situation where you need a goal? You don't turn to Scott Wright, you turn to Todd Campbell. Because as you say, Kerry, he's been up and down and he's not always delivered for us, but he's certainly more likely than Scott Wright to produce a moment of brilliance and find a goal. So it was baffling decisions for the manager. I think even at one point he seemingly changed his mind around the initial subs, because I think at one point I think Dessers was scheduled to begin off for
Nope.
who was it? The first batch of changes he made, the first two that he brought on. I think Dessers was supposed to be coming off.
Raskin and
Raskin and whoever it was, come on. McCausland, that's it. And then he changed his mind, and it's Silva he took off. And I thought that was a massive mistake, because Silva was causing all sorts of problems, to the point where I think Alistair Johnson came off the back because he couldn't handle him anymore. And obviously Ralston come on for them, and I just felt as if why would you take him off when he's actually doing a good job and he's causing that headache for them? Keep him on the park. Because Dessers, for me, was blown at his hole. He should have been off at that stage, because he just looked knackered. And fair enough, he spent a second half as the lone striker up there himself, trying to chase lost causes most of the time.
Why do we get one guy pressing? One guy presses don't work, doesn't matter who you play for. So if one guy's pressing, you just say don't press, because it's pointless. I take it if I press in 3s and 4s, but that what happened in Celtic. As for the Baltic Vickers went to Maeda.
I've opened up wounds, guys. I apologise. I've opened up wounds talking about this game. We've gone deep into overtime yet again.
We opened up that space and they've done the long ball. Maeda done well. But why Dessers chasing alone? Because you're not getting legs midway apart, because you're playing Lawrence and Munson.
Is indeed. I think what we've done there is just opened up the vent that Connor needed to get that out, because I was going to go back and forth for points and he just flew through the entire game. He needed that. So I'm glad to be your therapy session for today, Connor. You look done. So I think we should end here tonight, guys, and roll on for next week. Are we doing a midweek one, or are we just going to go for one big one for the end of the season?
Well, I think given the importance of the St Johnstone County game, because if County win, St Johnstone are guaranteed to win that playoff. We'll certainly potentially have a discussion. We'll be looking at Thursday night, albeit there's the members show. So we shall see. We'll definitely be back next Sunday for the end of the season. As I say, we'll cover off everything. We'll then keep to grips with the playoff final. We'll certainly do a wee special half hour or something on that when we know who's coming up. And then as a special treat for everybody, there is a plan to do our very own Scottish football show end of season awards, a bit like the half season awards we've done earlier in the season. So there's still a couple of wee things to come up between now and the summer break. So stay tuned. And then I used to getting the goalkeeper award, just to say,
I'm taking it. It's mine. I've had a sensational season. But with that, we will leave it. We will be back tomorrow night it is Monday tomorrow, with the phone in. I am leaving that in the capable hands of everyone else, because I am playing tomorrow night, so I'll be looking redder than this and a lot more sweaty. And then obviously we got the member show on the Thursday, and then the build up and post match for Dundee in the midweek, and then again Hearts at for the weekend to end the season. But with that, thank you to Scott, and thank you for Connor for coming in out of his sickbed to help us, and we shall see you next time.